Happy Tuesday. It is almost 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this 4th day of May 2021. Looking at Bitcoin, I just got done with our Cardano video. So we discussed yesterday about the possibility that Bitcoin will move lower, that it's got this very standard looking bear flag formation. For those of you unfamiliar with what a bear flag looks like, it looks like this. So there's pennants and flags. Pennants are triangle patterns and flags are rectangles. It's like an upside down flag. Actually, it might be easier for those of you unfamiliar with it. Let me do something. This is a nice trick for everybody because everybody has an internal bias when it comes to the market as far as a direction. I am overwhelmingly bearish when it comes to the stock market. So when I look at a stock chart or the equity markets, the NQ or the ES, those are the NASDAQ and S&P 500 futures. When I look at those, I automatically see bearish patterns. I automatically see a reason to go short. Cryptocurrencies, I always see a reason to go long. That's just how I am. And you are the same way, maybe the opposite. But you, listener, have an internal bias depending on the instrument, the market, the sector, the chart. You have one. Figure out what it is because it affects your analysis and trading. So if I'm somebody who's always bullish, to me, I still have struggle saying, oh, I think we're going to keep going down. So I have to look at it sometimes like this. Where'd you go? Invert. I basically flip the chart upside down, changes my view. Now when I look at this, I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, this is bullish as hell. Like this is a huge, like this is going higher. I mean, look at this. This is a sexy looking chart. My point of doing this wasn't to say this, but this is like a flag. This is like a flagpole. This move right here. See this? This is like a flagpole. This move up. And then we have the flag pattern itself, which is this. Now, Bitcoin broke out actually below that. Do you see the head and shoulders pattern in here as well? It's an inverse head and shoulders pattern on this chart, but when we turn it around, it's going to be, or flip it around, it's going to be a normal head and shoulders pattern. Somebody's going to say, that's not a head and shoulders pattern because those aren't symmetrical. They don't have to be symmetrical. In fact, you don't even need to have the head below the shoulders or above the shoulders. As long as there's 3 troughs, in this case, there's 4 in this move, that's sufficient because the head and shoulders pattern is something that Western analysts applied to Japanese style technical analysis. When in fact, anyways, that's a topic for another day. So we have this move here. We've broken out below the flag. I will color it red because it is a bear flag. I don't know why I'm picky about that. That's what's happening. But we found support against what? Something I talked about yesterday. I wrote about it too. The Tenkan-sen, the blue average here. The Tenkan-sen is the fastest and the weakest line in the Ichimoku system. Directly below that, we have Senko Span B, which is flat. That is a hard area to cross below. It's supposed to be a difficult area to cross below. Volume profile wise, I don't know how much volume is traded at that level. Like none. So that may not hold. We may not see a supportive bounce until we tag 48K. And then below that, we have the 33K value area, 34K value area. The volume itself, I mean, we've had relatively flat volume for Bitcoin. I mean, we did drop off back in April, spiked up again. The last few days, we've seen it rise. Well, yesterday and today, we've seen it climb. Seconds volume was dismal. But now that we've kind of got the swing structure, we can use our, it's not COVID, dry basement, where my office is at. The 1618 35K value area. This is really no different than what we've been looking at. But I don't even know if we would see a huge bounce tomorrow. tomorrow, if we don't see a huge bounce and a hold above the Senko span B, I mean, get hold on to your pants, because oh my gosh, this looks really ugly for bulls. Oh man, this is, yeah, this does not look healthy at all for continued long bias. It'd be a hell of a bear trap. I mean, if I can see it, so can other people, so can professionals who saw it before all of us. So this could be a huge setup for a massive, massive short squeeze. But the technicals here really point to some nastiness coming up ahead. If the RSI drops down below 45, and then the composite index drops below both of its averages, and the percent B drops below 0.2, I mean, that's a recipe for some huge selling. Huge selling. Yeah, there's Bitcoin is at a spot now in the volume profile on the right. And those of you unfamiliar with volume profile, is different than regular volume. So when you look down below here, see volume bars vertically measuring how much of something was traded over a certain period of time. In this case, this is showing us the volume traded during a daily candle, or how much was traded during that day. Volume profile, on the other hand, measures horizontally, and it measures how much of something was traded at a particular price, which for traders is more important than how much of something traded during a particular time period, unless it's like on a weekly or monthly chart. So we get to see where traders have participated, where equilibrium is at, where these important price levels are at. This is where people have bought and sold, and where people are holding on to shorts or holding on to longs. When you see these spaces in between, these long areas that stick out, these are called high volume nodes. The spaces in between that are kind of empty, they're volume troughs, volume deserts. How you trade this with volume profile is you treat these open spaces like they're a vacuum. Price gets sucked into the next high volume node. So if price were to break down below here, below 54,500, it has a very easy time to move all the way down to the next high volume node, which is at 48K. So we would see price get sucked into this zone. And then if it were to break down below this high volume node, it would get sucked into this zone here. All right. So they give you really clear areas of participation where support and resistance exist, where accumulation and distribution are. And when those nodes are broken, you typically see an instrument blast right through them to the next node. All right. Sometimes you'll see them blast through them, and then they'll have something called a back and fill, where they'll fill in the profile, which means that it's establishing a new major area of support or resistance. So just be aware of that as we move forward. But yeah, Bitcoin's move here still, unless something changes, look for that 35K value area to be the next spot to see a corrective swing low. That's what we should see. From all of us here at Exchange Rates UK TV, thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.